Couldn't even begin to tell you guys how many people sent me the story. I'm thankful because I know people wanted to kind of hear what my thoughts were. I have a lot of opinions, and I think some of my opinions actually might shock some of you guys. But let's do this. Before I get into the story, I do have to give you a disclaimer so you will understand what type of content I am presenting to you. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Now, so you guys should not be upset about my content nor flagging my content, right? But I want to show you guys this jerk off here on my screen. And his name is Dharmesh A. Patel. I don't know what ethnicity or nationality that makes him. I don't think it matters. I think he's a douchey individual. But this story comes out of Southern California, so y'all are taking the L today. Thank goodness that Texas don't have to take the L at the moment. But hold that thought. A Pasadena doctor charged with attempted murder of his wife and their two young children by intentionally driving their Tesla off the slide of a 250-foot cliff. And I do apologize to Kurt Dog earlier. I told him it was a 300-foot cliff. My bad. It was 250. I was 50 feet off. So my bad. And he's been pictured for the first time. That's the man that you guys saw right there. Let me back that up so you can take a look. I'm going to tell you guys what's so wild about this story. Initially, people thought that this might have been an accident. So people might be wondering, well, why is he arrested? How did they find out that this was not an accident? So I want you guys to take a look at that right there on my screen. Actually, let me make that bigger so you guys can take a look. They actually drew up a schematic. If you guys do not mind, and shout out to our channel members over there. I see you. Thank you so much. Let me blow this up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see this. Number one. Do I have to break out my trusty whiteboard? I don't think I'm going to have to. But over there on the right-hand side of the screen, if you guys can expand your screens, turn up your resolution, take a look. It says, number one, Patel. Yes, I'm going to have to break out my whiteboard so you can see the direction that he's going. Hold on. We're going to do this on the fly. Break out my trusty whiteboard real quick. Y'all give me a moment. Let me select my color and boom. So right here, number one. So Patel drives with speed northbound on H1 near Devil's Slide, and he's going in this direction. Right there to point number two. Point number two, he performs a U-turn before Tom Lantos Tunnel. Number two. So he performs a U-turn, goes this way to number three. Patel veers off the road, turning right onto a dirt area before veering off the cliff. So I want you guys to understand that this took some effort to do. This was not an accident, okay? Then they end up at the unfortunate point of number four, 250 effing feet down. Rescue teams find the family of four alive at the bottom of the cliff. And I want you guys to understand how ironic that is. So this man was so miserable that he wanted to not only end his life, but he put his entire family in jeopardy as well to lose their life. Even when the rescue crews were trying to rescue these people, you know what they said on the news? They said they were shocked that anybody was alive at all. Because first of all, that's a hell of a drop. 250 feet. Secondly, I'm not so sure how durable Tesla cars are. They're not very big cars. They're not meaty cars. They're not, constructed of stainless steel. Maybe they are. I don't know. But here's the cold part about it. I want you guys to tell me this. Is this story, and I don't mean to be too funny about this, and I hope the family that's alive don't take any disrespect to this. Is this not the best advertisement for Tesla? How many of you guys thought about it like that? Look at that. Tesla could literally use this, and I promise I know my humor is dark. I know some of y'all are not going to find that funny. I'm sorry. But Tesla could literally run their commercial and run one of these news broadcasts and say, take a look at that. Our cars survived that. A family of 4 is alive and survived that. Is that not the best Tesla commercial you could ever have when it talks about the safety of your cars? Talk about a 5-star safety warning. Every airbag possible went off and it saved their life. Isn't that something? Don't that make y'all want to go out and go invest in a Tesla? Knowing how many people out here can't drive, especially in Texas. I'm sorry, but out here in Texas, we drive really crazy. This fool, this dummy, this alleged father, Dharmesh A. Patel, is 42 years old, and he works as a radiologist at Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Pasadena. And I wonder if that's where they took his family to preserve their life. It's really interesting. He is accused of intentionally driving his white Tesla Model Y. I'm sure that's probably I'm sure their stock probably went. I'm pretty sure their stock went through the roof. Drove his Tesla Model Y off a cliff known as Devil's Slide on Monday near San Francisco during a trip north. Miraculously, all 4 family members survived, so this is actually a positive story. His wife, Neha, and their kids, ages 4 and 7, survived without any serious injuries. There's a good chance that they probably didn't even break a toenail. Isn't that something? They built them Tesla cars real good, real good. Initially, there were questions over whether the car, which is famous for its self-driving technology, had gone rogue and taken the family off the road by mistake, which we now know that's not the case. Some are asking whether the vehicle, which has airbags adjacent to the front seats in addition to in the front of them, actually saved them. On Tuesday, police charged Patel with attempted homicide and child abuse, alleging that the incident was an attempted murder-suicide gone wrong. He has not been formally booked yet, but is still in Stanford Hospital. It's unclear whether his wife and kids are still receiving treatment in the hospital or if they've been discharged, but just know I believe they are still alive to the best of my knowledge. Neighbors told CBS News of their shock after learning the allegations against Patel, because I'm pretty sure he seems like a model citizen. They look like a happy family, and whatever he does for a living, I'm sure he's highly respected in his field. But why would he do this on purpose? I think Tesla actually wrote a post and they said, update. Initial media reports were incorrect. The 2 adults suffered non-life-threatening injuries and the 2 children were unharmed after their Model Y fell off a 250-foot down a steep cliff. If you want to keep your family safe, buy a Tesla. Wow. Even they recognize that's a great commercial. Roger Newmark, who lives several doors down from the family on a leafy Pasadena street, said that they're the sweetest couple and they have the greatest 2 little kids. The hospital where Patel works released a statement on Tuesday. Providence Holy Cross Medical Center is deeply saddened to learn of a traffic incident involving one of our physicians and his family. We are extremely grateful that there were no serious injuries. We will not respond further as this incident is under investigation. Among those to comment on this case was Tesla founder Elon Musk. So let's listen to Mr. Businessman himself. Yes, advertising. Oh, and I didn't even tell y'all, I'm getting this information from dailymail.com, so thank you. I do get a lot of my articles from them, so shout out to them. In a response to a tweet about how the family survived, Musk said, Good news. His fans say the fact that they all survived is proof of just how safe Tesla vehicles are. Now, I want to give a disclaimer. I know there's some dummies out there that are probably going to sue them if they get into an accident and somebody is seriously hurt. This doesn't mean that if you get into whatever accident that you're going to survive it. What I'm saying is that look what this car survived. These cars seem to be pretty good with safety. Police are yet to confirm their investigation into the crash and are yet to confirm why they think the family survived. They think the vehicle suffered one initial hit, then flipped multiple times in the air before landing upright on its wheels, which you guys saw that in the picture. It was pretty bad. The damage to the vehicle would indicate that it hit and then flipped several times, according to Brian Pottinger, battalion chief with the Cowes Fire Coastside Fire Protection District. Blah, blah, blah. Goodness gracious, that gives me a headache trying to read all of that. But let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's take a look at the news videos. Only got a couple. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys are wondering what the shirt says, it says Babies Lives Matter. The AFC podcast. You guys can actually find that shirt, okay? If y'all are wondering what it says. But some of y'all are asking, how do they project it that he did this on purpose? Well, you have to rewind the video, watch it, because we just talked about that. But they're also going to talk about this in the news videos as well. So here we go.
New this morning, a Pasadena doctor has been charged with attempted murder and child abuse after police say he drove his family intentionally off of a 250-foot cliff. Imagine that. The pictures of this white Tesla crushed at the bottom of Devil's Slide in Northern California are shocking enough, as is the word the family of four somehow survived this crash. Alex Capriello is live with his details. And Alex, this is just shocking.
Mitch, good morning to you. Yeah, rescue officials are saying that this is an absolute miracle that all four of these people were able to survive this really dramatic wreck more than 250 feet down a California cliff. The four people inside that Tesla, a 42-year-old man, a 41-year-old woman, as well as a 7-year-old little girl and a 4-year-old little boy. All four of them said to be alert and alive when they were transported to the hospital. Now, we have some dramatic video from that rescue that we want to show you folks at home. Take a look here. You can see it's from inside one of the helicopters as multiple agencies work to free the victims trapped inside. First responders used the jaws of life to pry open the car doors, which were jammed shut from the multiple barrel rolls it did down the side of the cliff. They then utilized a rope and pulley system to hoist those children and adults back to safety. Crews battled harsh conditions the entire time, like constant rain, heavy wind, and crashing waves to get the four of them out into safety.
And Alex, I know this is not an ad for Tesla's safety rating, but you got to guess it might make its way into one. But can you tell us specifically about this section?
Yes, it is an advertisement. Yes, it is. Please say it again.
Of the road. Is this known to be dangerous?
Yeah, this is a part of Northern California called Devil's Slide. It's about 15 miles south of San Francisco, and it's on the Pacific Coast Highway. And here's what you need to know about PCH. Number one, that it runs almost the entirety of California. But then number two, it is really windy, and it has these dramatic views of the ocean from below, often traveling through cliff sides. At this part of Devil's Slide, it is known for wrecks, but very rarely do you see any survivors come out of it alive. And this section where this Tesla was said to drop off was said to have no guardrail, Mitch.
And do we know any more about the people inside? You mentioned their ages, but what more do we know about the miraculous survivors of this crash?
Yeah, News Nation was able to identify the driver. That's 42-year-old Dharmesh.
Okay, so again, some people might not have caught this either in the title or what I was saying earlier when I was reading the news article or even giving my opinion. This does not appear to be an accident. N-O-T, not an accident. This looks like it was done intentionally. I showed the schematic of where they showed where he would have had to make a real effort where he was traveling compared to where he ended up going to drive off the side of that cliff. He did a U-turn. Can y'all type that in the chat? Maybe some people can't hear the sound of my voice. He did a U-turn and continued driving off. That took intent. That took effort.
Patel, he's actually a doctor down here in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley. The hospital has identified the other people inside that car as his family. Now, as for the evidence, police say that they have enough to suspect that he intentionally drove this vehicle over the side of the cliff, and that's why the preliminary charges right now are attempted murder as well as child abuse. He will be booked in jail once he's released from the hospital.
My goodness. You know he has to be treated before he can be released, but my goodness, I just...
Wow.
Thank you.
This morning, the passengers of this mangled car somehow are alive after their Tesla plunged more than 250 feet off the side of a cliff south of San Francisco.
We come out here, unfortunately, all too often for things like this, and this was nothing short of a miracle that they survived.
Police say 41-year-old Dharmesh Patel was driving along a dangerous stretch of coastal highway known as Devil's Slide when he purposefully drove off the cliff, sending the car flipping several times before landing on its wheels just steps away from the ocean. In the car with him, police say, were his wife and 2 children, ages 4 and 9. A dramatic rescue playing out as 3 helicopters and more than 30 rescuers scrambled to reach the mangled vehicle.
We had 300-foot ropes, and we just about maxed them out to get down to those people.
Rescuers pulled the children out of the back window and brought them up the cliff in a rescue basket. The adults suffered more serious injuries and had to be hoisted up the cliff by helicopter. Incredibly, all 4 sustained non-life-threatening injuries and were taken to a local hospital. Police say Patel, a doctor at a Los Angeles hospital, will now be charged with attempted murder and child abuse.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
A Pasadena father has been charged with attempted murder and child abuse after police say he drove his family off a steep cliff in Northern California yesterday on purpose. 41-year-old Dharmesh Arvind Patel was arrested Monday at Stanford Hospital. Investigators.
Real quick, I'm going to shout out the people real quick who donated because I'm not sure how long you guys will stay here. So let me shout them out as they come in. So Ash and Emmy, thank you. Jimmy D, thank you. To Donna Aguayo, thank you. And just came in, Ray Lynn. Ray Lynn, if you're in the chat, Happy New Year to you also. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the Cash App. I did get it. And for everybody else, the links are in the description box if y'all want to know where to find them. Let's keep going.
Say after speaking to witnesses and putting together evidence from the scene, they believe Patel drove off the cliff intentionally. Patel's 41-year-old wife, 7-year-old daughter, and 4-year-old son were all in the car at the time of the crash and fell more than 250 feet in their Tesla. They are all expected to be okay. Neighbors we spoke with in Pasadena are stunned by the crash and the arrest.
Yeah, I'm stunned by it because you just don't really think about what could happen on a day-to-day basis with neighbors and family and friends. And this is, shocking. And I just hope my heart goes out to the family. And I know everybody on this block will come out and support everybody in the Patel family to get through this.
Patel is listed as a doctor at Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Mission Hills. The hospital said in a statement they are grateful no one was seriously injured.
Is it going to play this one? Let me see. I think that might have been my last video.
It's a miracle they survived. Now, shocking revelations after a beloved Pasadena family plunged off a treacherous cliff in their Tesla. Investigators say this was no accident. Tonight, the father, who's a local doctor, is under arrest.
Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but nonetheless, you've heard the majority of those news stories, and no, this does not appear to be an accident. But here's what you'd have to ask is why? What was he going through? Was this man being sued? I was actually talking with Kurt Dog about this earlier, and shout out to my brother, my friend Kurt Dog. And I was talking to him about this earlier, about potential scenarios. Like, was he potentially about to get exposed for a cheating relationship, or he and his wife arguing? Did she threaten to divorce him? Now, there's a reason why I'm bringing up potential divorce if they were having those conversations, because lately there have been a collective of stories that have been coming out where these women who ask for the marriage will then turn ask for the divorce. The divorce rate is extremely high, and you've also noticed that the death rate has been going up when it comes to these men harming their wives or about to be ex-wives and the children. So there have been a lot of, how can I say this? There have been a lot of murders lately, and I'm actually going to talk about some more here on some upcoming stories about how these husbands get disgruntled for whatever reason, and they like, you know what, I'm going to take everybody out. I'm going to end everybody's life. And that's been happening a lot. It happened a whole lot in 2022. We've already got a handful of stories here for 2023, believe it or not, of this exact same scenario, which is why I'm bringing that up. We don't really know the cause, but the fact that all of them are alive, I think that, first of all, the wife needs to take her kids and separate from this dude. I hope this dude gets charged. I hope he gets arrested. I hope he gets, like, if he's really rich, depending on what he's a radiologist, I don't know how much money he makes. I'd say give him a bond that he can't afford, like $16 billion. 16 billion, maybe 16 million, maybe billion is too much. He might not be a multimillionaire. Give him a $16 million bond. That way, what, 1,600,000 he'd have to get out, 10% to a bail bondsman? And maybe that'll be enough to buy his wife some time to be able to separate, get her kids, and run. Thank you. Somebody caught it in the chat. Run, ma'am. Run. And don't look back. Because if this dude was trying to end your life, I guarantee you he will love to finish the job. So I want to also say this about those ladies who have ever been in violent relationships. I want y'all to talk to the people. Please type a comment. Leave a comment in the comment section for any woman, any lady, any girl who has been through domestic abuse, who has been through violence, who has been through a situation where a man has been controlling to try to control you financially, try to control you mentally, try to control you with the kids, try to control you with threats. Threats of violence, threats of whatever, has this menacing tone, looks at you in a crazy way. How many ladies can attest to what I'm saying, huh? How many of you ladies have ever dealt with a man who was overbearing? Too much. And I'm gonna tell you this. One thing that a lot of these ladies can attest to, and I can speak to this because I know some of these ladies' personal stories, friends that I've had for a lot of years can tell you. Abuse doesn't have a specific face. Abuse does not have a specific face. Just because you have a face like this and you smile and you paid to have nice white teeth and a nice good haircut and nice clean clothes and your kids look good and y'all look like a happy family and y'all are taking photos with the best cameras, does not mean that you're not an asshole. Just because you don't wear your pants hanging off your ass don't mean you're not a jerk. Don't mean you're not an abuser. Abuse can come in many forms, in many shapes, and it can look like different things. And that does not mean that this man is not an abuser, because I believe that he is. And I believe that he had every intention to end his own life and his family's life. And for that, I hope he gets no bail, hope he gets a life sentence, and I hope his wife and children appreciate and go out and buy them kids a Tesla whenever they graduate high school. How about that? Get them a Model Y or a Model Z, whatever comes out here in the next 15 years when them kids grow up and become something great, right? But matter of fact, I think Elon Musk, how about this? Maybe let me throw this out there. Maybe if I get lucky enough and blessed enough, if Elon Musk will share this video of mine, and maybe he needs to buy this family, not only buy them a replacement Tesla or give them one, but give the kids Teslas when they grow up and they're able to get their license to drive, right? But anyway, that's my thoughts about this story. Thank you so much. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Were they lucky, or did Tesla just really build an amazing car? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you. So I noticed that some of our AFC people here from Utah have already heard about this story. It's really wild. A lot of people involved, but even more so, I think the faith-based association that is associated with this man and with this family makes this even more heinous. But before I get into the details, what I'm trying to say, let me give you guys a disclaimer so you'll be well aware of what type of content I'm going to be bringing. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Yes, indeed. So again, Utah is going to take an L, and I haven't really given Utah a lot of L's, but let's talk about this. First of all, when I read that this man and this family are Mormons, I'm not really familiar with Mormon. I know it's a religious section of religion. Is that the way you say it? I don't know how you say that. But it says that Mormons are a religious and cultural group. There you go. Related to Mormonism, whatever that is. The principal branch of Latter-day Saints movement started by Joseph Smith in upstate New York during the 1820s. I'm not so sure. Let me see. What is a Mormon? What do they believe? So Mormons are a religious group that embrace the concepts of Christianity as well as revelations made by their founder, Joseph Smith. They primarily belong to the church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I remember they used to have this commercial. Maybe some of y'all ain't as old as me, but I remember they used to come on and they were trying to sell their Bible. Y'all remember when they used to run those infomercials, those big dollar infomercials they would always run real late at night? The book of Jesus, the Church of Latter-day Saints, or whatever that is, however they used to say that. I was like, what is the Book of Mormon? Like, what the heck is that? Like, it was like some new stuff they came out with. Like, I never heard of it. I thought it was wild. But nonetheless, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LSDs, or LDS, excuse me, not LSD, LDS, which is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, and has more than 16 million members worldwide. So I think people in Utah are more familiar with this than anybody else. So let's talk about this story coming from Daily Mail. Thank you for the article. So a Mormon family, including 5 children, so that would be husband, wife, and 5 children, which is a total of 7 people. All of them were found shot dead in their rural Utah home by a family patriarch on Tuesday. The children's father then turned the gun on himself, so this was a murder-suicide. And that's why I continue to keep saying that abuse doesn't have a specific face. That's probably going to be my theme for 2023. Abuse does not wear a specific face. You see this family, and you don't immediately think abusive, violent, dangerous husband, psychopath. None of those things come up. They're in the church, look like a happy family, they dress well, but what does that mean when they're all dead? That means absolutely nothing. Okay? This man decided that he was going to end all of their lives on top of ending himself. And I'm just thinking, like, why not start with yourself first? Right? Anybody else kind of understand where I'm coming from? If you're going to do this to your wife and your children, how about you do it to yourself first? And then you can worry about, oh, that's right, because you wouldn't be able to do nothing to them if you did it to yourself first. See how that works out? You see how selfishness works out? You could have just let them go about with what they were doing, and you could have just walked out the picture or walked off the proverbial cliff. The bodies of Michael, age 42, Tasha Height, H-A-I-G-H-T, 40 years old, and their 5 children, Tasha's mother, Gail, 78 years old, were found on Wednesday in the town of Enoch with gunshot wounds. And I hope I pronounced that city correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. The children were only identified as 3 daughters, ages 17, 12, and 7, and 2 sons, ages 7 and 4. Police have been called to their home to perform a welfare check by other family members. I'm sure they tried to get in touch with them. There was a lot of people involved there. It was later revealed that the massacre occurred shortly after Tasha filed for divorce from her husband, Rewind. Let me say that again, because I've said that in previous stories and I'm going to say it again. Abuse does not wear a specific face. She filed for divorce, and you would have to ask yourself a pertinent question. Why was she filing for divorce? But then again, I don't understand why people get this far. You wait. You feel like, I'm assuming if you're Mormons, I'm assuming y'all believe in some level of Christianity. So you probably waited to have sex, waited to get into a family, waited to have children until you had a job and stability and a marriage. You did everything right. So why would you want to leave? Here's my thing. I personally believe that people don't dig deeper than the surface of dealing with a person when it comes to relationships. I'm not a relationship expert, but I feel like there's some things that I know that we're doing wrong. In general, not all, and not necessarily saying them. He could have just flat out snapped. But I believe that before we have children, we have to get real deep with people. We have to ask very vital questions. We have to know what makes a person tick. We have to know if they have violent tendencies, if so, where those violent tendencies are before we have children. Because the thing is, and maybe this couldn't have been prevented, but I use these stories as cautionary tales because I talk about this hoping that maybe it won't save this family, but maybe it might save somebody else's family. So I hope y'all catch that. This ain't for them. They aren't here with us. This is not going to benefit them at all. They're going to have to plan for a buttload of funerals. But this might be able to save someone else who might be getting engaged, for somebody who might be falling in love, so for somebody who might be dating. Please do as best as you can. Just because you see somebody in the church, just because you see somebody with a high position of power in a job, just because you meet a doctor, or just because you meet a manager, or just because you meet somebody that seems to have a lot of ambition and drive to make and earn money and promise you that they're going to be a good provider and a good husband, does not make them a suitable candidate to not only be your husband, but to be a father to children. I honestly believe there had to have been some red flags, some yellow flags somewhere. It's just my personal opinion. Please don't get mad about that. There had to have been something about this man that let you know, oh, he might be a few screws short. I said that backwards. A little dyslexic. He might be a couple of tacos short of a combination plate. This man might be just a little bit on the thug side. You put up that Christian cloak, that Mormon cloak, and you know how many times that people are in the church, but they're out doing the wildest things at home and in the streets. Don't live by that Bible at all. So you just got to be careful. That's really all you can do. It was later revealed that the massacre occurred shortly after his wife filed for divorce from her husband. Until last week, Michael had been working as an insurance agent for Allstate. Well, that's Allstate, Stan. Isn't that something? I'm sure Allstate would rather have not known that y'all put it out there that that's where he worked at. A statement from Enoch City Manager Rob Dotson identified Michael Haidt as the only suspect in the crime. Dotson said, while this intensive investigation is ongoing, investigators currently believe that there are no suspects outstanding. Evidence suggests that the suspect took his own life after killing 7 others in the home. The suspect is 42-year-old Michael Haidt. Let me get this off my screen. Let's keep going. Online records show that Michael Haidt worked as an insurance agent for Allstate. I don't know why they put that company name out there. But Allstate, I guess y'all got some splaining to do. Maybe y'all, what is that personality assessment test that y'all, that they make y'all do before you can work at a company? I wonder how well he did on that assessment. He worked as an insurance agent for Allstate, and that's according to Daily Mail. So if that's wrong, I'm sorry. That's according to Daily Mail, not my words. And he ran a financial services business out of the family's home along North Albert Drive in Enoch. Fox Salt Lake City reports that Michael had recently left his job at the insurance giant. The station also noted that Tasha filed for divorce on December the 21st. 4 days before Christmas. That's colder than the weather. Right before Christmas, too. Just, woof. James Park, who represented Tasha Height in the divorce case, says she had not expressed any fear that her husband would physically hurt her, but he declined to elaborate, citing the investigation into the killings. Park said he only met with her twice, most recently on Tuesday, and said that she was an incredibly nice lady. In a press conference, Dotson said that the authorities entered the home around 4 p.m. on January the 4th. The alarm was first raised when Tasha did not show up to an appointment, Dotson said. At the same press conference, the town's mayor, Jeffrey Chestnut, said through tears that he was a neighbor of the Height family and that their children play in his yard. Officials say that the family was known to law enforcement, and that they only had been to the home previously for unspecified reasons. I'm sure that has to do with the investigation. So that'll probably come out later. None of those visits occurred recently. Neighbors of the family told KSL that they were active in the town's Mormon community and described them as very welcoming. Tasha's Facebook page is littered with images of her family. The most recent shows her with her husband in June of 2022. Her mother, Gail, lived with the family. Her husband, Boyd J. Earl, died in 2020 at the age of 77. He was a veteran of Desert Storm, and shout out to all of our veterans out there if you guys are listening, and was a Green Beret, according to his obituary. A neighbor, Tina Brown, told the news Tasha was the most kind and generous person, and she never said anything ill about anyone. She would give the shirt off her back for anyone, and she served people tirelessly. While another neighbor, Tom DeVille, told the station, I just feel terrible. They were really nice people. Let's keep going. I can skip some of that. Archives from the local news show that Height's first birthday was commemorated with an announcement in the local newspaper in 1981 alongside a baby picture of him laughing. He was in Boy Scouts as a young boy and earned the Faith in God Award as a fourth grader. 2 years later, in 1992, another newspaper article showed that he had won a Gospel in Action award from his church. He is pictured again in the newspaper in 1998 when he was a finalist for the Academic Award in high school for business and marketing. After high school, he served a church mission. He served a church mission in Brazil and then married Tasha at a church temple in St. George in 2003. She was from Overton, Nevada, just located 2 hours south of Cedar City, where he grew up. Dotson earlier said that the community was sent reeling by the news of 8 bodies and that the deceased, all members of the one family, were well known to the southern Utah town. I can skip some of that as well. Welfare checks usually take place when neighbors raise concerns or when individuals have not been seen for an extended period of time. The 5 children attended schools in the Iron County School District in Cedar City, according to officials. The letter posted in the schools, I think I can skip some of this also. I don't know why it's telling about the school enrollment. Why does that even matter? Let's go ahead and skip some of that. Let me give you guys the fair usage. I'm going to talk about the couple of news videos that are here. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. To be honest, I have no idea why we needed to know how many children are enrolled in their school. I think that was a bit odd, but nonetheless, if y'all would do me a favor, especially in honor of those children, the memory of this family, do us a favor and please click that thumbs up and share this video so more people can see this story. Talk about it, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think, okay? Here we go.
We want to return you now back to our top story tonight. Horrific breaking news in Iron County. 8 people, 5 of which were children, were found dead inside a home in Enoch earlier this afternoon.
Police tell us all of the victims suffered gunshot wounds. The scene is in the 4900 block of North Albert Drive. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold arrived on scene just minutes ago. Chris, what have you learned?
Well, yeah, good evening, Bob and Kelly. Yeah, we just arrived here in the past 15 minutes, and as you can see here behind me, still a pretty active scene as police have the entryway onto North Albert Drive at Saddleback View Drive blocked off right now as they work to investigate and figure out exactly what took place here earlier today. Now, what we do know right now is police were called to the home for a welfare check earlier today, and when they arrived, they found 8 people dead inside this Enoch City home. Now, 3 of those people have been confirmed to be adults. The other 5 are children. Now, police haven't said at this time if all 8 people are immediate family or not. Now, the news hitting pretty hard for this tight-knit community of about 6,000 people tonight. We spoke with a neighbor who has lived here for about 8 months who says the family were really nice people and that their kids were heavily involved in sports in the community. Now, they and even police out here tonight are just left in shock with what has taken place inside of this home.
I just feel horrible. I mean, they were just really nice people, and I mean, it's going to be one of those things that who knows.
This is not normal. This is not something that happens often at all. And in a small community in rural Utah, we're all family, and so this affects everybody, and everybody has some connection to the individuals and some connections to the families.
If you guys would do me a favor, if you're listening, we want to have at least one thumb up for everybody watching to sharing the memory of these children, to sharing the memory of this family. If y'all would do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. Look at how many people are watching. Hit that thumbs up. We want to try to bring that number up just a hair, okay? So more people can see it.
Well, at this time, police have not released the names, ages, or even genders of the victims involved in this incident. They did say they do not believe there's a threat to the public or that any suspects are at large at this time. Now, right now, Enoch City Police and Cedar City Police, along with the Iron County Sheriff's Office, they're out here behind me right now investigating, trying to come up with some sort of answers here tonight. And when speaking with the Enoch City PIO earlier tonight, he said they might not be able to come up with all of the answers about why this incident even took place. For now, live in Enoch, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Chris, is there any indication that police or other authorities have visited this house for any reason in the past?
Again, so for the people who are asking and want to know what the motive was, the motive is that she was divorcing him. That's it. Divorce. He felt that his entire family needed to die because she wanted to separate her life from his. That's it. Divorce. Something that trivial, and maybe even not maybe it's not that simple. Like I said, I mean, I'm divorced, but I've been divorced, 12 years now? I couldn't imagine wanting to go, hurt my ex-wife, the kids, myself, because we needed to separate, or she decided I'm not for her anymore. She needs to move on for whatever reason. But I would love for the details in that divorce. What is it? A divorce decree? Is that what it is? Whatever she was asking for in that divorce, I would love to know what those details are, because if we don't have that, we really don't know how to posture this story. Posture, that's a big word for me. But to posture this story, because how do we teach from this if we don't know the full details? Like I said, I mean, that might be only privy to the lawyer. And now that they are passed away, we might not ever actually find out. We might not ever find out why they were getting a divorce. He took the life of everybody that could have told us.
Yeah, and speaking with police briefly, Bob, we haven't been able to confirm if they have been out to this home before or have known or been involved with this family at any time before this latest incident here tonight.
Chris, I can see the flashing lights behind you, still a very active scene. And I know you haven't been in that community very long tonight. You just arrived about 15 minutes ago. But what's your initial impression, or have you seen any neighbors come out? As we mentioned, I mean, people are in absolute shock. This is a very small, tight-knit community. What's the feeling there?
Well, both Kelly and Bob, I can tell you, I've been looking down each side of the street here, and it's just incredibly quiet at this time of night. I know in speaking with some people on our way up here via social media, whether it was Facebook, Twitter, or whatnot tonight, a lot of people just incredibly devastated. Some people I spoke with even said they knew the family involved here tonight and just said they were in complete shock. They were devastated. They really didn't have much words for what took place here tonight, still trying to grasp everything that has happened here.
Chris, a lot of times in situations like this, information is what dispels not only fear, but anxiety as well. Have police said that they're going to come out and brief reporters at any point tonight or maybe even in the morning?
Now, from what we gathered from when we spoke with a PIO earlier tonight, they said that they would be updating us, I believe, tomorrow morning and giving us some more details about this incident. But at this moment, unsure what those details will be as again, police out here tonight.
I think this might be silent.
At this time, we don't believe there's a threat to the public. The investigation is, of course, ongoing with law enforcement, and we'll continue to go on until there's some more information to give out. The feelings that are happening right now are, nobody can describe what they are. For those family members, friends, neighbors, there's no words to describe what it feels like to this community.
But again, it seems like the majority of what this happened for was predicated on the divorce. If that was simply the reason he did this, I just think it's a very, very shameful thing. I know he was probably emotional, definitely not thinking rationally. Some people in the chat even, I saw the word narcissist in the chat. I'm not so sure that term fits this. I mean, I get why you say it, but I do know that divorce can be devastating. It can be emotional. It can make you think some very wild things. I think counseling before you get married, while you're married, and even if you're getting a divorce, I think having a counselor is important. If they had that, I'm sure if they were in the church, they had access to that. Seems like they need a lot more than that. I don't know. But it's just a really tragic situation. But if there was more going on, and this is why I believe that we need to have more of an open dialogue about what's really going on with this violence, why are these things happening, why are these people doing this, we need some real answers, because I believe that's the only way that we can fix problems is if we identify what the problem is, which is the first rule of troubleshooting, because that's the word I used to come from. But nonetheless, RIP to that family, except the husband. So RIP to everybody except the husband. How about that? But thank you guys so much for listening. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comment section and post it in there, okay? Thank you.